educate, we entertain, bring you that feel that you need to carry on each and every day and get the best out of every day. Well, we are now here to bring you the next element on the show. I've been talking about it from the early hours of the show right up to this point in time, and finally, the time is ripe and the time is right for us to have this conversation on this morning's episode of Power Solutions. Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome. Welcome. My name is Collins. Teke, and I have my co-host and co-anchor. His name is Hi, Weeba. How are you today?
Good morning, Colin. I'm doing well. A weekend. It was quite a weekend. I mean, to see the power of social media and the young people of Nigeria.
That's right.
Driving the government to make a big decision. So it was very, very exciting. And maybe, today it's good. We actually have a young person on the show today.
Mm-hmm.
We need to find a way to drive the transformation in power using the same type of approach.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Of course, we're here to talk solutions. And you talked about the guest already. So let's bring him in straight up and find out who this amazing young gentleman is.
All right, so this morning we have Chibuikem Agbaegbu, who's the country manager for Nigeria of the Africa Clean Energy Technical Assistance Facility. So good morning, Chibuikem. Thank you for being on the show. How are you today?
Good. Good morning, Weeba. Good morning, Colin. Good and well.
Great.
So I know, Chibuikem, you're an activist, so I sorry that we had to keep you indoors for the show. But after this, you can go do what you want to do. But listen, tell us about your professional background. And how you got to be, country manager of such a big program at such a young age.
Great, thanks, Weber. So my background has primarily been within the off-grid solar space, really. It's just been there. My academic background was in energy and environmental engineering. And just from when I left university after my master's degree, I worked a bit with a solar company in the UK, and then came back to Nigeria, and I've just been in the off-grid solar space since then. I've just been passionate about driving electricity in Nigeria, and I found this a very good space to belong to and to drive that. So my background has been primarily around supporting associations. I worked with Power for All and the Clean Technology Hub. Implementing various donor-funded projects are primarily focused around driving clean energy solutions to rural communities. And so it's just been from one organization, from one project, all the way up to my current position as a country manager for the African Clean Energy Technical Assistance Facility. And it's been a great passionate journey as well.
Tell us about the organization, African Clean Energy Technical Assistance Facility. That's quite... what do you do?
So in a nutshell, we support the sector. We basically just come in, provide technical assistance or technical support where it's required, both for the government and for the private sector, in terms of what is required to drive the off-grid solar sector, really, or just drive electricity, primarily to rural communities. So it is a program funded by the UK government, cutting across 14 African countries, Nigeria being one of them. Okay. And our emphasis is mainly on rural communities, so rural electrification, mainly through standalone solar solutions. So as you're aware, within the off-grid solar sector, we have the mini grids and then we have the standalone solar. So we tend to focus more on the standalone solar sector, which comprises of solar home systems, productive use products, and the rest of that. So our work mainly is just providing technical assistance. We could be around policy and regulatory support. It could be around addressing physical barriers, catalyzing investment, just coordination, knowledge management, and all of that. Just what is required to just drive the market forward.
Interesting.
So tell us about your views on the renewable energy sector in Nigeria. In particular, how much progress has been made, I guess, in the sector generally, but then also specifically in the area of policy and regulatory support, which is where you focus. I know it's a big question.
It is. But if you see over the past, let's say 5 years, really, there's been so much progress within the off-grid space specifically. So within the RE sector, you have the on-grid and the off-grid. Not so much on the on-grid space, but on the off-grid, tremendous progress. We have from negligible sales in about 5 years ago, we have close to about 400,000 sales and adoption of this product currently.
You said 400,000?
Yes, as at 2019, in terms of sales, Google reported sales in Nigeria. Yes,
Okay.
and you have about 5-6 years ago we had few local companies. Now we have over 100 in the industry association, and then on the policy space we have about 5, 6, 7 policies and regulations that are focused around the space. You have the renewable energy and energy efficiency policy. You have the rural electrification implementation plan. You have the mini grid regulation. So on the policy and regulatory space, there's been progress as well by the government and stakeholders in trying to create that enabling environment there. So just in a nutshell, a lot has been done. I mean, you have investors like yourself who are pumping in capital. I mean, you won't be here if you didn't have all of that. But in terms of what needs to be done specifically, primarily will be around policy and regulatory coordination and implementation, really, because you have all these policies with all the components that say fine things and all of that, and show the government support, which they are supporting really. But it's more about the implementation and coordination within these policies. We've also had significant support from the government through the REA from the past administration led by Damilola, then to the new administration, which has been improving and driving this as well. So the progress has been good. We still have issues, but it's been good so far.
Now, tell me about the organization's investment map for this standalone solar sector in Nigeria. What is the objective behind this?
So, if you ask anyone in the sector, if you need, what is required to scale up the sector, the first answer you get is finance. It's we need capital. Weeba, you say we need capital really, and that is just what the investment map is really is that first step. Is the first step in our access to finance initiative really, and we address this on two sides, on the supply side and on the demand side. And what the investment map really is looking to do is three things. The first one is to look at what the trends has been in terms of financial inflow into the sector, debt, equity, grants, public, private, foreign, domestic, and all of that. Just get that trend for standalone solar. Then second, you look at what the barriers has been so far, versus if you look at the market opportunity, why hasn't this scaled up to meet the market opportunity? What have been the barriers so far? And then thirdly, just find out what are the tailored models, what is required, what kind of models, how do investors navigate the space? There's the issue of forex, but how can we as an investor, how can an investor navigate the space and all of that? So it's more like a guide, or what I call a shopping tool for investors to say, this is the landscape, this is the opportunity, this is the trend, this is the progress that has been made. Well, these are the barriers and the issues, but this is how you can bring in your investment into the sector, and this is how you can basically navigate the issues on the ground. So that's what that map is all about. It's more like a template that we can now use to work with the investors and all the other financiers we have across the ACE program and our partners to say, take this, look at this, and then bring in your finance using this tailored models for the sector.
Okay, so Chibuikem, in your earlier answer, you did talk about that the regulation is moving in the right direction and all that, but I think you talked about consistency. So can you give us some examples of, well, I guess consistency and implementation? Can you give us an example or two of where the regulation is really positive, perhaps, but maybe it's in the implementation that the sector is still now having a struggle?
Yeah, great. So I think the first part would be, if you look at the National Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Policy that sets goals for what the government tends to achieve in terms of renewables and targets, and you look at the SE for All Action Agenda too, they are both aligning towards the same thing, but then the targets and the ways they are going towards that are different. But then these are basically government policy documents, so there's lack of coordination or consistency between both. And if you go to the policies, you find about how the government has to create, for example, incentives, VAT, import duty waivers, VAT waivers, provides, there are just several things that the government has to provide in terms of creating that enabling environment, incentives to support the local companies and the local market. So we have all of that clearly defined in the regulations, which is meant to, which shows the government support and the government's vision there. But then these are not being implemented really. So that's the issue, that's the gap. So the government says this, and the government is moving towards this, but it's not implementing this, and you find that this sometimes are even in conflict with the activities of the government and in other sectors as well. So that's just in a nutshell. It's mainly looking at what the deliverables are, and then just implementing them and not just having them out there on the policy.
Lagos, we're having a chat with Chibuikem Agbaegbu. He's the country manager, Nigeria.Africa Clean Energy Technical Assistance Facility. And this show is called Power Solutions. Let's bring you up to speed now in case you want to be a part of the broadcast at any time. Maybe you have a question. You're inspired by the young gentleman who's holding such a, very strong position and very vital position as far as the Power Solution is concerned right here. You could send a message or call us live. But let me bring my next question to you. In your view, right, what are some of the barriers to investment and market opportunity within the sector in Nigeria?
So I've spoken about the policy and regulatory issues as well in terms of implementation and coordination. We're talking about issues around barriers to investment, like the forex issues, talking about import duty waivers issues as well. Talking about lack of recently, we just adopted quality standards for standalone solar products, but up until mid this year, it was an issue because it had influx of substandard products in the sector. So gaps really, I think I'll just break it down in terms of gaps and the gaps and the barriers. The gaps, one of the key gaps I'd like to speak to, the need to actually localize the efforts you're making at the state level. A lot of the policies and all of that at the federal level, but then there's just the disconnect between the federal and the states. So there's a need to actually take this down to the state and the local level in terms of policy and in terms of implementation and increase consumer awareness. The barriers, which would be the policy, which I spoke about, around policy and regulatory inconsistency, forex issues, and other fiscal barriers, really, that tends to limit investments or discourage investors. But then, if you look at this and look at the opportunities where you have, I think there are various organizations that will quote different statistics, but we have, on the average, about 90 million Nigerians that lack access to electricity, and who are ready to pay, and most of them who are using, small-scale gensets and the rest of that. So the market is there. So the way forward really will be in terms of the need to take this not just at the federal level and also but down to the state and the local level. Empower the state government, let the state governments understand the market and create enabling environment at the state level too to encourage investment there as well. Yeah.
So thanks for that. I love your answers. They're so kind of concise and clear. So listen, the Nigerian government plans for at least 5% of its rural population to be served by standalone solar, SAS, in 2040. Do you see the government achieving this? And is your organization championing any intervention to help?
Yes, 2040 is literally 10 years away, right?
20. I guess you're not
20 years away from now. Yeah, 2020.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's 20 years from now.
Yeah, I think because there is the 90% electrification by 2030 and then 100% by 2040. Yes, so definitely with the right investment and with the right enabling environment, definitely yes. And I'll speak just mainly, when it comes to that 5%. So you already have a clear, from the work that has been done around data mapping and the studies that have been done by various program funders like NOMAP and the rest. You have a clear idea where this off-grid population are, and then with the current investment flow and with increased investments and addressing the current barriers, that I had mentioned, and the issues around policy and regulatory coordination. If all of those things are addressed within the next 5 years, then definitely I'm sure that we can meet that 2040 target. So three things: we need the policy and regulatory coordination and consistency and implementation. We need increased investment, so not just keeping the trend we have now, but increasing that trend to get more investment that can meet the 5 million, the 90 million people that are off grid. And then we need the right enabling environment. We need to have what I call indicators. For example, the government has a plan to deploy 5 million solar home system projects. So once those are deployed, after like 5 years, we'll have 5 million products that have reached their end of life. So you need to have like an e-waste plan and standards, quality standards plan, and all of that. So with all those things put together, we need the next 5, 6, 7 years. I'm sure that we can meet that 2040 target.
Now, do you have any current partnerships with the Rural Electrification Agency, that's the REA, and the Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria?
Well, yes. So we have a good relationship with the REA and the Industry Association, and we've provided support to the REA in several ways. And currently, as part of our year 2 strategy, we're trying to also formalize our relationship with the REA and with the Industry Association. For example, we have sometime this year, we supported the REA with their SHS grant selection process in terms of improving the tool that they used for disbursing grants through the Rural Education Fund. We're providing some support around gender and social inclusion, the investment map that we're developing now, and also some intervention we have with the CBN as well. We are doing that in collaboration with the REA. With the Industry Association, RIAN as well, we also have a good working relationship with them and provide information and data to them where required. Currently also in the process of formalizing that relationship. We just recently launched a global strategy towards supporting industry associations across all 14 countries where ASTAF has presence. So yes, we have good working relationship. And just to speak a bit to the previous question, in terms of the interventions we have going, we have quite a few in terms of those supporting both the REA and RIAN and others. We have some work. We are currently working with 6 state governments, Lagos state government inclusive, in terms of helping to develop an electricity policy and the rest of that. We recently supported the SON with quality standards, and we are trying to set up a testing lab for them now. We have some work on consumer finance, the investment map. We are working with the Ministry of Environment and Nature to develop an e-waste framework. So we have several of those pieces ongoing. Currently, about 15 ongoing interventions across access to finance, policy and support, and the rest of that ongoing.
Wow.
Okay, so a lot going on. So
it's a wow, Weeba. We said the wow together. I was just listening to him. You can't make up these things if they're not reality. And I really liked his response to the question. I mean, he's giving us details, and everyone listening will be like, something is happening. And is this hope that we're about finding a solution to the power problem in Nigeria?
Sorry, come again. Was that? Can you repeat the question?
No, I was just saying that with what you're saying, it's showing me that probably there's hope that indeed we're going to have a power solution to the power problems in Nigeria. So I'm just commending the efforts of what you're doing. Weeba has got the next question.
So listen, with all that you're doing, you said you're funded by the UK government. The UK is hosting the next COP or COP, the Conference of Parties, which is the huge sort of annual global event focused on climate negotiations and so on. So what role is your organization playing in making sure that issues related to power, clean energy in Nigeria and Africa are definitely on that agenda?
Well, almost every intervention we have ongoing tying into that, really. Everything I've mentioned tying into that. So basically, our work around providing technical assistance really to the area and other private sector players really is to advance the delivery of standalone solar solutions. So if through our work and support, all on brings in $50 million, right, and the area brings in a few more financing, and sector players brings a bit more financing, and issues around fiscal barriers, policy, and state governments take more ownership and all of that, and all those are catalyzed, then definitely, that ties into the both Nigeria's Paris Agreement and the work of the UK government, really around the green climate and the Paris Agreement as well. But what we do, just to speak specifically to one intervention we have ongoing, we have a market deep dive across 10 states. And the aim of that deep dive really is beyond just what we discuss at the high level and the issues at the high level, is to go on the ground. So in each of the 10 states, it goes to the urban, peri-urban, and rural communities to find out what the adoption really is for solar. So using that data and that information to say, well, we are saying 200,000 sales are being recorded on the ground, but it's different because then these are mainly in the urban areas, but also in the rural areas. What do we now need to do to drive this to the rural areas of those that need it most? And then designing our intervention such that it supports other. So using this data and designing all the technical assistance that we provide, such that supports the efforts of investors and the area and the government towards improving the delivery and adoption of this. So all that ties into both Nigeria's Paris Agreement mandate and the efforts of the UK government towards supporting both Nigeria and globally in terms of that COP26 as well.
All right. Well, yeah. So our time is fast spent, but I'm going to throw in this one last question, and it has to do. I know every Nigerian will want to hear the response to this. So, with the right investment, right, in the power sector, how long do you think it will take Nigeria to enjoy constant power? You and I know that's like the biggest problem. And in fact, some experts have said that if the power problem in Nigeria is solved, that'll be like 90% of Nigeria's problem. And I kind of believe it. So what do you think? How long will it take us to experience that?
So that's a trick question, really. And the truth, I can't. So on the power sector, you have the on-grid and the off-grid. So let me be clear. Okay. I can't speak on the on-grid side because that's a different ballgame. But on the off-grid sector, just like when we had asked the question, really, I'll just reiterate that with the right investment. The right technical support and the right enabling environment within the next 4 to 5 years, we can meet that the government's 2040 target. Okay. So I'll just align here. I'll just stick with the government's plan in terms of driving electricity, offering electricity by 2040, and saying that with the right investment, if Weeba, for example, can maybe increase the financing threefold. For example, and we also improve our implementations threefold as well within the next 5 to 7 years, and all this is done. Yes, we'll definitely meet the government's 2040 target.
So Weeba, part of it is in your hands, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It sounds like a lot of it is in my hands. I think you're putting too much on me, but we'll try to deliver. We'll try.
Absolutely. You've been delivering. You always deliver. I know that for sure. So I mean, gentlemen, Weeba, we have to go.
So let me close this out, but I think the listeners, all of them would agree that we've had a really good discussion today.
Yeah.
And that some of the very complicated, even stuff around COP, the COP, is very, very complicated. It's all about international negotiation and all that. And Chibuikem, you've kind of made all that stuff sound so
easy,
simple,
and
straightforward. And I think it's exciting to think that in the next 5, 10, 15 years, it's young Nigerians like yourself who have now had years of experience in the power sector who are going to take the leadership of the sector in this country. And I think it shows that we'll be in very good hands. So maybe that target of 2040 is actually too far away. And by 2030, people like you will be in charge and will bring us there a lot faster. So thank you very much. This has been that's Colin celebrating you.
That's for you. That's for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well done.
So thanks so much, and again thanks, and any final words?
No, I just thank you, Weeba. Thanks, Collins, and I just look forward to just delivering our electricity mandate. Really, that's a deep passion for myself, and Weeba just always available to provide whatever support we can to make sure that you increase your funding threefold. Just let me know.
All right. Sounds good. All right. We'll do that offline. Okay. Thanks, Collins. Have a great week.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Lagos, thanks for being a part of the conversation. There you heard the conversation with Chibuikem Agbaegbu. He's a country manager, Nigeria.Africa Clean Energy Technical Assistance Facility. There you also heard Weeba, who's my co-host. Next week, we'll be here again with another guest. Guys, that's it. The show's over. You stick around. The news is coming up in just a moment. My name is Collins. Teke, God bless you. God bless Nigeria.